You've been subjected to a highly sophisticated form of propaganda.
It's just what you need, and not what you don't. Quality, quantity, and variety.
Rock Flux.
Let's get this show on the road.
Hello. 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 Good morning.
And a bright good morning to you folks out there in TV land. This is the worldwide webcast, TonyCaravanLive.com. I washed my game over hat. So I found that you can reduce these from so that they become less of a boathead type of thing. Boathead is my terminology. I think one or two more washings might take it down. But it didn't destroy the text or the print. Very good process. However, silkscreen or whatever else they're doing. Today is Thursday. I don't think I'm having anything to drink, though. I haven't drank in about a month. The title of today's show is simply Fools, with an exclamation point. It's August 12th, 2021 in the former United States. I think we're going to keep the Game Over girl and keep the Game Over theme up for a little bit. Since, that's pretty much what it's all about. And, of course, I think we're going to loop this throughout the whole show all day long. No, just kidding. My coffee maker, no bugs in it. Slurp and the hot. And a little bit, it's more, I think I got the right roast down. I put 4 teaspoons in today. And it has that medium dark roast flavor to it. I just got up. It's 5:04 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would have been on the air a little bit earlier, but I had just to deal with some stuff. This is a farmer's kitchen, and a farmer's kitchen, it's been raining for the past 3 days. In fact, we might as well get into the climate thing. I'm not going to make it full, super full screen, I don't think, today. I'm just going to bring up the climate map just kind of above the video capture device here and show you what's going on. And I don't think we need to really see my face, right? In fact, I don't even see why. I guess I'll bring it above the type. A type is one. Well, I'll turn the type off. And that'll make it's a little bit easier. Okay, you could see something moving in the background. That's my shirt. I could easily bring my face up there and mini-me myself, but there's no real need to do that. Is there now? This is issued 4:37, so just about a half hour ago by the National Weather Service and NOAA and all those people that do this kind of stuff for a living. And in my neck of the woods, usually I guess we do this.
The Weather Watch forecast.
And in my neck of the woods, it's 70 degrees outside right now. And it's supposed to get up to, according to the voice assistant, 95. The weather via the internet is saying like 93 and overnight 72, which is ridiculous. Ridiculously insane. And tomorrow it's going to be the same thing. So if you guys are interested in
weekend weather,
it's looking like Friday's going to be like kind of more of the same, maybe cooled by a degree or two in the better part of the U.S., really. And The weekend showing that we might get into the 70s to high 70s, and the overnight lows might be a little more comfortable. So that's your
Weekend weather.
But back to the precipitation forecast and what's going on. Apparently, TD Fred, which was tropical storm, is now just a tropical depression, as I predicted. And the same with TD Kevin over in the Pacific Ocean is a tropical depression. And you still have tropical storm Linda down in somewhere in Guadalajara. Some stupid song I heard. Anyway, down Mexico way. That's a different song altogether. I cannot talk this morning. So the reason that both those tropical storms are now just depressions, as he takes a slurp from his coffee, is because what I told you. On the East Coast, they're shooting over all this sand with microbes in it and all kinds of mold, spores, and all that kind of nasty stuff that they're just trying to kill us off with. And on the West Coast, they're messing with this bunker fuel, this fuel oil. Look that up on... even Wikipedia, if they haven't, Wikipedia, they had changed. As soon as someone busts Wikipedia or finds something on there that's factual, they immediately change it to a lie, right? Wikipedia, anybody who uses Wikipedia as an encyclopedia is a fool. And take it from a guy who used to support them financially for a number of years until I discovered that they were changing the facts to go with whatever narrative these psychopaths were putting out. So we're looking at the forecast for today is rain over most of the, like I say, I'm in the mid-Atlantic states, but almost the midsection go across the board of the former United States, and of course the southeastern states. Rain and a chance of thunderstorms, and then of course over a portion of northeastern Kansas, northern Missouri, into Illinois, and the southern tip of Iowa, severe thunderstorms are possible. Pretty much all of New York State, with the exception of New York City, severe thunderstorms are possible. And the northern tier of Pennsylvania looks like it's could have some serious storms up there. For the rest of us, it's basically rain. For the Pacific Northwest, probably a little cooler. And I see there's some highs developing on the west side, so that means, you could be looking at some better improvements. Low pressure down in Cuba. Right on Guantanamo, Gitmo. Anyway, there is your...
The Weather Watch forecast.
And I hope that helped you. So, now we could get back to some sense of normalcy, or what we're used to, and we could take a look at today's title card. And today's title card says, Meanwhile on Planet Earth, get it through your thick skulls. I control the climate, says Mr. Sun. In the second decade of the 21st century, humanity perished due to a small number of self-appointed greedy rulers, in quotation marks. And that's what's going on right now. These people in charge, who are self-appointed, really, because, it's hard to say. This hat, it's kind of goofy looking, but it's not nearly as goofy looking as it was before. It's not getting light on the whole thing just because I don't have professional lighting in here. I mean, what more do you expect? Nobody here has purchased a single thing, despite the fact that I struggle and I buy all the stuff and have it made and I design it. You know, there's my title card. I made that too. I just made that this morning. But yeah, it's the morning show. Rockflux.com, TonyCaravanLive.com. You know,
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
that's me. And that's part of the goofiness that I do from time to time. I'm kind of happy that it's going to rain. I haven't, knock on wood. The leaks have been to a minimum, but I have noticed I've had some, and I know this is gross people out, but I've got some bugs, I mean, and I think it's because of all the dampness. So it's like, I got to go down into like I have a door leading to my basement, and it says, beyond this point, there be dragons, something along that line. But I'm going to have to probably go down there today. And I think I still have enough. I have some bug spray, down there. And I'm just going to have to spray. But what I really need to do is bug bomb. Man, everything costs money. Every time I get a couple of dollars, I end up spending it on something stupid. Some stupid freaking necessity, or unnecessity that these self-appointed greedy rulers. What did Rand Paul call them? Something sick with greed, or here's like a picture. This is just literally seconds ago what YouTube looked like. Like what was just showing up when I just turned it on for a second. So you see you got tattoo, and I see he's spelling TATTOO, the normal tattoo spelling from 3 days ago. He's got the Rand Paul guy there. 46 seconds only of it, so I haven't seen that one yet. Or maybe I did, I forget. Then over at the far right of that, you got that goofy guy, Campbell, man, who's like... That guy is such a fruitcake, man. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He's like a fear-monger, into himself. And he's got 1.2 million views. So the guy's become he's a YouTube millionaire. And, poor Tattoo's got 16 views for 3 days. But still 4 times better than my average. Right. I see Mark Dice has got something comical there. I haven't seen that. On the far right of the second row, you can see Hannah Lee Dugan. Man, she's cool. She's young. She's compared to me. But she's gorgeous. She's this cute little girl just kind of messing around with stuff, but she's talented as hell. And strong. She's remodeling this cabin she has, and she does all this, and she's creative as hell. Unless she's got some secret support team behind her, which I doubt though. But if you ever, I don't watch every one of her shows. But every now and then she is a classic. She has some good stuff on. And I see this Styx Hammer guy still around, and I'm just waiting to see him go away. He's so full of himself. I bet there's only one way to say this. So get ready. There's kids in the room. Cover their ears. Styx Hammer is full of shit, man. And then you got some poser with some Wi-Fi box. And some other dickhead down at the bottom. I reviewed 400 thumbnails to prove this. 6 keys to max, and it's probably maximize your viewership. And then, of course, suspicious observers, NASA's take a beating. I tried to watch that video about 5 times last night. You should try to watch that. If it's happening now, if you have access to it. But I kept getting the curly, the old spinning thing. So they're trying to block that. Because he criticizes the UN IPCC and NASA, because both NASA and IPCC are basically out there spreading lies. And that's basically why my title card is what it is today. Okay? You know, in the second decade of the 21st century, humanity perished due to a small number of self-appointed greedy rulers. People who are doing things, they're messing with Mother Nature. 0.004 CO2 has not a damn thing to do with the Earth's climate. The sun, man, the sun, man, you gotta get it through your head, okay? Stand up, Leon. Who's Leon? I've been through this already. Leon Russell from a live George Harrison performance. Stand up, Leon. Leon Russell, man, he played keyboard, so he had to stand up. He was sitting at his keyboard trying to be shy. Well, you're showing me a different side. Remember that song? Lady Blue. Even that was a good tune. You know, slow dance. Slow dancing. Slow dancing. Yesterday I had the Space Invaders thing on for such a short period of time that, maybe I'll just kick the title card and put it up again. I used to love this game. That's Galaga, not Space Invaders. I'm sorry. And if you look closely, I'm basically winning this game, even though my ship gets blown up at the end. You see, I have 2 spare ships on the side, right? So, with those few B's or whatever the freak they're supposed to be, that wasn't a bad, first go. Like I said, I had the full arcade game in my house at one point. It cost me like $1,000, $1,200 to get it shipped from Chicago. That's where it came from. This is like in like the late 80s or something like that. And I know there's supposedly some place that's only a couple hours away from me where I live. At least this was a few years ago. I don't know if they still do it, and these guys, the problem with people getting old is that they get old, retired, and they just get rid of their stuff. Their kids don't care, and they just dump it, and they don't know the value of it. But I do remember, maybe it was 10 years ago even, there was some place a couple hours away where a guy had a pinball, had fixed and repaired and was collecting pinball machines and was selling them. Man, I'd love to have a pinball machine in my kitchen /bar/ laundry room. Man, I could pass the hours playing pinball. I mean, these are things to do, in life. Like I often say, you got to do something, right? I think one of the biggest problems in this country is that right now, and it's not just because of this lockdown and this thing, and all this other craziness that's going on, is that, is boredom, right? Filling the day. It's like, things like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, and all these other things they got, right? People are spending far too much time, like, A, on this device, right? Using this stupid thing. And B, when they're not doing that, just watching what we used to call the boob tube. Like, this is YouTube boob tube, but there's no tubes in it. I mean, the only tubes anywhere... My hat's falling. Oh, shit. Sorry about that. The clips on my hat are falling off. I snapped that on because I disconnected them to wash it. This is a tube, okay? That's where it like connected into the radio or the TV through those little, you took it and you put it in like right there. That's a tube. And of course, the television screens used to be a giant cathode ray tube. All right? Don't sit too close to the TV. It's not good for you. You'll get those cathode rays. Of course, who would know that sitting so close to a computer or actually holding this thing up to your ear or putting it in your pants pocket would be way worse than you as a kid sitting in front of a television set. And far more dangerous radiation coming off of these smartphones and computers than you did off of a cathode ray tube TV. But yeah, tube, education. This show is educational. A lot of people have never seen a tube up close. It's a tube. If this show is popular, if I had listeners, I'd be like giving away things like that because I have so much cool stuff. I'd be giving away signed copies of my book, free downloads of my songs in MP3, things like tubes, objects, Dart I've got laying around. But like right now, stream settings, YouTube Studio, the analytics page, it has to be up, by the way. Concurrent viewers, 0. Concurrent viewers, 0. So the hat seemed to shrink top to bottom, which is nice, but not left to right. See, this is like, protect you from the rain or storm. But what the heck, game over. I'm just wearing it just for the sake of it. As you can see, this logo looks very good on the hoodie or a t-shirt. So that's why I'm keeping the girl up. The model. Everything you know is wrong. So, and don't forget, you could, anytime you want to, you can get a Rock Flux mug. Same thing I'm drinking from. And of course, behind me, we still have the morning show mug there by my thumb. And Codex book, I don't know. Nobody's buying it. Why aren't you buying that book? Secret Alive. Some 3D glasses, old radio, blah, blah, blah. Great solar stuff. I don't know. I could talk and talk and talk, and nobody listens, and nobody gives a acrobatic sex act. So, yeah, I guess at some point today, I'm going to have to venture downstairs and spray. I mean, I saw a couple of bugs around my kitchen sink and stuff. They worked on the sewer systems here, and I think they drove bugs up from the sewers. Up through the drain pipes and stuff. And I had been spraying some stuff in my sink every night, but I ran out of it. And I went down to a grocery store where they had this in that section. I mean, this is gross to some people, but, you live out. When you grow your own food, farm life and stuff, people have critters and stuff like that. I mean, at least I don't have mice, or anything like that. But I mean, I'm growing, I have a garden, I got food and stuff and all that stuff out there in the back. Though I have it set back away from the house. And I never had problems till I had that witch. They're all witches, they're all. I think they came from her house. But I had been, but when I went to the store to get like a refill for this thing, because I got one of those ones that has a battery something in it. So the spray, instead of constantly hitting the spray nozzle thing, it's like a, automatic thing. And I already replaced it once, and the stuff's not cheap, man. I don't know what it costs, but it's like $7 or $8 or something a refill. They were all out of it. And walking back up, I looked on some people's porches, and I seen some of these, like, those like half-gallon things that have like the hose and the spray nozzle attached to it. Like the giant-sized bug killer things. And I've been here for 5 or 6 years walking that street. I've been walking this street so long. I don't know. Glenn Campbell song, maybe. Rhinestone Cowboy. And I never saw anything of the kind. And I never had a bug. The only thing I've ever seen around here was when I first moved here, some of those little tiny red ants sometimes you see. But I haven't seen them in 5 or 6 years. But this year, since they've been messing with the sewer and digging and redigging and just pounding and causing earthquakes in the houses, shaking, shake, rattle, and rolling. So that's another one to add to my list. Leaky roof, bug problem. I don't know. A neighbor who's a witch. There are witches. There are. Buying security things. And that's just local. That's just here. I was watching somebody saying, you got to do everything local. And I've often said that too, take care of you and your own first. And don't worry about, the macro so much. But I'll tell you, sometimes it's a struggle just dealing with the micro. I'm tired today. I just didn't want to get out of bed. This coffee isn't really helping too much. I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't really gotten a good healthy dose of vitamin D in the past couple days, though I've been eating very healthy. Do you ever go online and look at those lists of like where they, 10 anti-inflammatory foods, 10 immune system building foods, 10 whatever foods, right? 10 of the healthy, And it's like, I've watched, and they have them on YouTube too, right? But it's on the internet a lot. You could just go and it's more of a pain on the internet, but it's a pain on both because they got to put all this extra language in, just show me the darn thing. Or those things online where you got to push the button, next. Just show me them all, right? Put an ad. You got an ad on the page. Okay, fine. Instead of tormenting me and making me spend, wasting time. But anyway, what I found is that those things, that's what I eat. That's what I eat naturally. I eat garlic every day. I chop it up and put it in my sandwiches and salads and whatever. I've always done that. So I'm getting that. Turmeric? Sure. Always have turmeric on everything. I grow kale. It's healthy green, dark green. Tomatoes, I'm growing fresh tomatoes, lycopene. You get out of those. I just had breakfast. I had blueberries within my cereal, right? Things like raw honey and cinnamon, those things have other properties. They're antimicrobial, antifungal, anti-this, anti-that. What I did forget today was prunes. In fact, I wonder... That's what I might have forgotten yesterday. It's hard to keep track of all these things. I'm trying to keep myself. Regularity is an important thing. But yeah, I forgot the prunes. High fiber, always high fiber diet. Like I say, my only weakness is ice cream, you know.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
I know, it's about me, and when are we going to get to the topic? But I said yesterday or the day before that I've tried the frozen yogurt that claims it's got like active probiotic or something in there. Though I think they're just lying. And there's probably high fructose sugar or something in there, you know. There was some like almond milk ice cream, vegan ice cream I bought. Because I thought, well, okay, you know, I'm not a vegan. Though I don't eat a lot. Though meat's not like, I don't eat meat. I mean, I eat meat rarely to begin with. And I can live without it, to be honest with you. But anyway, I just bought it because, you know, I was figuring, okay, let me try because almonds are good for you. So I'll try this almond milk ice cream because maybe it'll be like, because dairy's not necessarily the best for you either. So they say. Whoever they are. There, if you look at this title card that's up on the screen, they're part of that small number of self-appointed greedy rulers, right? That make these proclamations, right? You know. And like edicts and proclamations, right? So I was looking at the ingredients on this so-called almond milk, ice cream, vegan, no non-NGO, no gluten-free type of thing, right? And I swear in there was like high fructose corn syrup or something. See, because the FDA, you know, they can approve things like this because they just do. You know, their threshold is very low. And they'll say, well, it's corn syrup. It's all natural. You know? In other words, they don't care if the corn was messed with, GMO corn. They're saying the product that came from that is not genetically modified. They don't go back a step, you know. Yeah. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. Anyway, I kind of like that title card. I think it's kind of neat. Doesn't have to be that big. It's a cartoony thing. I used to make cartoons. You know, when I did the magazines, I used to like monthly. I would usually come up, especially towards the end before I started. I was getting tired of publishing a darn thing. I would come up with some of these like real critical cartoons. Of course, nobody would read them. It's like, you know, it's like everything else. You know, it's not unique. I'm almost happy. Not happy is a strong word. I mean, I'm almost ambivalent, I guess would be a better word, to the idea that I get so few viewers. Because, you know, it's the same when I used to publish magazines. At one point in this it was a smaller area. It was a small college town. So, you know, when I was publishing a dining entertainment guide, and I think I was putting out about 5,000 copies. Now, someone think, well, that's not a big circulation. Well, in a college town, it's a lot, especially since, you know, I had these plastic displays in bars and clubs. And, you know, and it's what you call pass-along readership, too. So if somebody takes one back to their dorm or their apartment, it ends up sitting on, and I was in apartments. I had some apartment buildings that would put one in each of the mailboxes of their apartment units. So that meant when people, you know, whoever, you know, you got 4 people living in an apartment, you know, in college town, that's what they do, 4 roommates. And so the mail comes in and this thing gets thrown on the coffee table, you know, and people are laying around. So that's pass around copy. It's what they call readership. Readership is a house gets a newspaper, but they figure that there's, 2 point whatever per people living in that household. So instead of saying, oh, we have one subscription, one reader to that because one person bought a subscription to the newspaper, these people are married or have a older child or something. So the readership might be 2.1 readership, right? 2 to 1, sometimes higher. And in the bars particularly, because when we would go to put in the next issues, and I didn't do it, but I had somebody who was doing distribution. I mean, occasionally I would do it if I was going in the bar myself. And I would go take the old ones out and replenish them, a stack of new ones into these plastic containers I wasted money on that held this dining guide perfectly. And in there would be only a couple issues left, so most of them gone, number one. But the ones that were left were like dog-eared and beaten up, and if there was a coupon in it, it was ripped out and stuff. So you knew that like 100 people, like at some point waiting for their meal or their drinks or whatever, were like sifting through these things. I mean, they were beat up like you can't imagine. So that's readership. But still, even then, people didn't get it, They didn't really get it. And I used to run little tests, like I used to have a little events and different things like that. I'd do free things, like holiday times I'd dress up like Santa Claus and DJ these parties, and they were free, and I'd give out all kinds of really cool free prizes and stuff. Play all kinds of music, had a good setup like this, music-wise and stuff. And, there'd be people in the bar, but, it'd be like, people just look at you. They didn't really get it. Like, they weren't really having fun, They're just sitting there. There was always a certain percentage of people, but I mean... So, once that slips away, that's another sign of a falling, civilization, and a culture, in collapse, is that people just don't know what to do. They're just like, in other words, they become silent. They're non-participants. They're silent observers of the world. And like I say on this title card I made this morning, which, considering how fast I put that together, it's growing on me by the minute. But they just become silent observers. They're watching things, not like the watchers from the old days. The biblical watchers, or these alien watchers, whatever they are. That's a whole different crazy rabbit hole to go down. No, they're silent observers. They're just they're watching, observe, but they're not observing. That's like, again, I got to stop myself there. They're just watching the world, pass them by, watching life pass them by. They're letting these self-appointed greedy rulers and, just dictate what to do. Do this, don't do that. It's quite a sight to see, having grown up in a world where people really participated. Really participated. In mass numbers, of things. So I don't know. It's there's still a percentage of the population that does participate in things. And I'm sure there are more people that want to participate. But it doesn't seem to be as widespread as you would hope. You know, I think. I may be wrong. You know, but I just, you know, it's just an observance on my part. You know, I mean, when you see like people that showed up for that Lollapalooza thing in Chicago, I mean, that's obviously people that just wanted to get together and do something and get outside and have fun and all that. So it's not to say, you know, there aren't millions of people that want to have fun. My chair's falling down again. When will this stuff ever end? When will I find comfort? Never. Will this show even continue? Who knows? Is it worthwhile? I don't know. It's getting hot in here. It's going to be humid today. I'm just curious. See if the temperature's gone up in the time since I've started this show. Looks like it might have gone up 2 degrees. That's outside. I don't know what the temperature is in this room. Upstairs, I have a thermometer in my bedroom, like a digital thermometer, and tells me the humidity in my bedroom. Don't have that down here. Here's an interesting thing. This is just a weird observation. If you look closely, what's a gum thing? I really don't want to. I'm not promoting this gum necessarily. See where it says fill line? Look at the size of the container. Why would the fill line be that low? No weird. Very strange indeed.
Channel check. Left channel. Left channel.
Maybe I should spend the rest of the show talking in the right channel. Right channel. I'm not prepared for this show, and as I'm talking, I feel like Jerry Lewis in The Nutty Professor when he was sinking in that chair when he went into the, not the principal's office, but whoever the, head of the college was, president of the college's office, and Jerry Lewis sank in that chair. You see how he just sank? This thing has just decided to totally screw me today. This is insane. All right. See? The difference? Like this is where it should stay, but it won't. It just wants to keep sinking down. People saying, well, lose some weight. You're probably way too much for the chair. No, I have lost weight. This chair is rated way above my personal weight. No, it's just one of those other little things. It's not exactly...
This is a nightmare. It must be a nightmare.
It's not that, But, when you take all of these things into consideration, yeah, it's a nightmare. But like I showed you before in that image of the day, down at the bottom, the lower right-hand corner, it says NASA takes a beating. And it's a video from Suspicious Observers. I highly recommend you see that. Or go to suspiciousobservers.org, or is it .com? I better double check that just to make sure. New window. Actually, I can actually do this from here. See, I can pull up a browser, the top of a browser page. So we'll call it, we'll just call it browser. Browser. Make source visible. Yeah. The name is already in use. Cancel. Where's the browser? I don't see browser anymore. Oh, I've got one over here. Oh, I'm showing, this is browser's my site. The only problem is this is a browser, okay? But the problem is I don't have the ability. It's just like it comes up with that page. Anyway, that's Tony Caravan live page, and that's the classic iconic image of me from years ago. But anyway, let me go to, I guess I'm going to bring in browser too. See, this is browser. Well, the hell with it. Let's go back to the scene. That's me. We'll go back to the scene of the crime. And let's bring up a browser 3, I guess. I don't know where browser 1 is. What's going on with that? And so what I'm going to try is suspicious observers.org. And let me see if there's any other thing. Shut down source when not visible. Refresh browser when scene becomes active. No, let's just do this. Okay, there it is. Anyway, so it is suspiciousobservers.org, O-R-G. And even though it says log in there, you don't have to log in. And I don't have the ability, I haven't figured out, I don't have the ability to scroll with this thing. So that's something that I need to learn. Excuse me. There's so many things. I realize I'm just babbling today.
You're listening to Tony Caravan Live.
But, you know, we get into more into this stuff as time progresses. But these are things, you know, this is, you know, it's a podcast. It's my podcast. I'm talking to you. There's so many things you have to specialize in because if you are involved in this kind of technology. In other words, the average person has it easy. They get these apps, right? You know, and it's just, you know, they're user friendly, you know, I mean, they're just made for a moron to pretty much figure it out. In other words, a monkey could kind of figure it out, you know, to get the food pellet. But when you're trying to do other things, right, behind the scenes things, creating content, there's like all these like hoops you got to jump through. And, you know, and what really annoys me is that when I was creating things, and I don't do it anymore, you know, there was a time where I created many, many websites, you know, I know it. In fact, I owned at least 60 some URLs, maybe 80, and I must have designed several hundred websites over the years for various companies, individuals, et cetera, myself. Hundreds, and very complex in many cases. But I always made them very user-friendly, not only for the end user that the client, so to speak, you know, would have, so they would have ease of use. But I always built them because I didn't want to be their webmaster. You know, that ridiculous term, webmaster. I'm the master of your web. I didn't want to be their webmaster. It's the same, you know, and so I would make it user-friendly for the person or you know, whoever at the company was going to be their IT person as well. And, you know, that's just the way it is. And I talked about, and I think I mentioned this yesterday or the day before, when also, you know, I had a lot of jobs, but it wasn't like I just like moved around like a lunatic and couldn't hold on. Like some people say, you couldn't hold on to a job or something. No, I would go and I'd work a place for years, several years. But I basically would be finished, you know, what had to be done. In other words, to me, I always view life as, you know, there comes a point where you make improvements. At least the type of jobs I've got, or if I worked on a project. So if you work on a project, well, the project is concluded, then you're no longer needed there. And you can decide to take on another project, or you can say, you know what, hey, it was fun working on that project. I'm going to move on to another company and do another project. Or you'd go somewhere and it would be a mess, right? And you'd like take this chaotic, disorganized, cluster, clusterfuck. Why not just call it what we call it? And you turn it into a fine oiled machine. And then at that point, you'd like ride that machine for a while, collect your paycheck, and then you go like, my work here is done, right? And you'd move on. And in most cases, that would only take a few years here, a few years there. And that's what I used to do. And I use that same, I carried that same thing through to when I was designing websites, apps, and things of that nature. It's like I didn't want to be tied to it. There's some people that, they do that intentionally so that they can collect a monthly fee from you, or you have to be dependent upon them. I didn't want anybody being dependent upon me. I didn't care about the monthly fee. I knew I could always make money doing something different, or I could survive. I moved on. I wanted to move on. I wanted a new challenge. I wanted to grab all the gusto I could get, and I wanted to experience life to the fullest. And that's the complete opposite of what bureaucracies and people and politicians and government is. These are people, career politicians, career bureaucrats, right? They get, once they land the job. I mean, that's why, and they even put in things. They do it in like, they have even in certain unions and stuff. And I don't want to get into criticism of unions or necessarily. But I mean, they basically put in these things where you can't even fire them. That was the problem with the VA for the longest time. They had people working at the VA that were really just not serving vets. In fact, in many, many cases, were being harmful to veterans. And they couldn't get rid of them because, there was like, they had these, rules. You can't fire a person, It's like the postal system. These people could there's people have been caught like years ago opening, like grandma sending, $5 or $10 to their granddaughter in a card. And they've got caught people on cameras opening the cards, taking the $5 bill out, and then putting the card in the dumpster. And some little kid is crying, "Grandma forgot my birthday." That's why I always tell you, if you're ever going to send a card to somebody, birthday card, any kind of greeting card, or any kind of thing, holiday card, whatever, Christmas card, whatever, put it in like a regular envelope, all right? And get one of those long, or and if you have no creativity whatsoever, look for one of those long cards, not the ones that look like greeting card. And then just put that in a regular envelope so it looks like it's just a letter. Otherwise, use your frickin' computer and make a homemade card, and write a little note in there. Hey, have a happy, type of thing. Even if you just use clip art or something weird, at least, they're going to probably get it. But if you send a card and it looks like a card, it's like my mom used to send stuff to me and she'd put these stickers, excuse me, mustaches get itchy. And she'd put like stickers on it, and all these things around it. I'm going like, you're basically telling the thieves at the post office that you're probably, because she used to, even in college, she used to like throw in it, put a few bucks in an envelope or something. I'm saying you're basically announcing to thieves that there might be money in there or something. And putting a check or something like that in isn't the answer, or a gift card, because if it's a check, they're just going to throw it. There's a check in here. They'll throw it away because you can't, At one time, people used to be able to, go to the bank and cash checks. They weren't that strict with IDs and stuff. But a gift card anybody could use, so. Anyway, that's just a little quick aside. So don't do that either.
Why are you telling us this?
I don't know. I'm just babbling this morning, I'm trying to wake up, and, this helps. Sometimes the first hour of this show is just getting my, brain in order, so to speak. Right? But, yeah, I don't know. It's funny, out of all of this stuff, that's happening and that has happened, I'm trying to I just thought I'd do that. We haven't seen in a long time. Yeah. Why is it not selecting this piece? There we go. Go down a little bit further. We haven't seen her. Nice smile. She's a nice smile, though, you got to admit. That'll end up being the thing that they post. People get a kick out of that. So, yeah, it's getting real hot in here, and we're coming up on
The Now Sound. Another hour.
Another hour, baby.
It's the best. New.
I don't think those things are doing anything right now.
Brilliant.
Good thing that I don't have dangerous brain powers, or right now you'd be in 1,000 little pieces.
Thank you. My canned laughter. Canned laughter. People are such idiots,
I fear no evil.
Yeah, me either. All right.
Making up the rules as we go along.
Since we're just about into the new hour, it's 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you're listening to Tony Caravan Live, broadcasting from the former United States on the planet Earth that has been taken over by a handful of self-appointed greedy rulers with delusions of grandeur that are doing all kinds of crazy, insane things that are beyond belief. And in effect, and are ignoring the facts and the science. But it's coming from the people who are supposedly the people you want to respect as scientists. So most recently, NASA and the IPCC, right, are still pushing this 0.004 CO2 man-made, climate nonsense. And they're doubling down, or like I said the other day, quadrupling or octupling down on it. I mean, their science, what they're claiming is not backed up by any recent, in the last decade or so, any recent seriously peer-reviewed reports that have appeared in journals, scientific journals. In other words, it's a contradiction to what mainstream science, which is a major change, because for a while back in the Al Gore days, and Al Gore was totally made a fool of, because everything he said was proven wrong. That's why he's vanished into the background. And they put Kerry out in front, some guy with like Botox face. Kerry looks like a clown. You ever see the guy? He's like, he looks like some kind of circus clown. So they put him as the new like clown face of this. But in the past decade or so, it has become clear that our magnetic field is weakened, right? That the Atlantic conveyor that keeps Northern Europe warmer than it should be is based upon its location on the planet. Storm development, right? Things like the what they call polar vortexes and jet streams, right? All of this stuff, temperatures, they ignore the fact that, what's occurred on the planet, in recent years. That all of these things are, go against what they've just published in this past week. But what they do is these things are published this week and are given as press releases to the news readers. And that's what, so you pay these people $20 million, these anchors on these national newscasts, right? The networks and, and a cable cast as well. And then you've got these YouTube millionaires, right? And these people on social media that, are, get all this sponsored money, from various sources as well. And they're lying. They basically just take this, it's content to them. So they take it and read it. And that's why I say you got to go to Suspicious Observers and places like that where people actually read through the scientific papers, with a fine-tooth comb, and they find, the contradictions and see the hypocrisy and report on it. Right? And who have contacts in NASA and other scientists, and actually themselves do experiments. So it's pretty sick, what's going on. So it's bad enough that we're facing down the barrel of a potential solar nova event, a cataclysm on this planet. But it's like in the interim, these guys are trying to rush it on in a different way. I mean, I don't even get it. I've touched on that before. It's like, why would you, if you were a billionaire, just think about this logically, okay? Because there is no other way of looking at it. If you were a billionaire, you had $1 billion, okay? So multi-billionaire. Some of these people are multi-billionaires even. Remember, $1 billion is 1,000 million. So you're not just a millionaire, right? You didn't win the lottery. Hey, I won a couple $1 million on the lottery, right? You go out and you buy this $100,000 car, you get a bigger house. You buy all kinds of gadgets and stuff like that, and then you end up a heroin addict and you die. The tragedy of winning the lottery. But that's not the point I was trying to make. No, $1 billion is 1,000 million. Okay? All right. So you got these billionaires that have multi-billion dollars. In other words, thousands of millions of dollars. Okay? Now, they've got their private jets. They got their private, yachts. Or some of them have private islands, right? I mean, they're jet setters. They go to all these resorts where they don't have to follow any of these rules. Like they're not, doing this. They're not worrying about that. And, these treatments for the thing you can't talk about. Well, they have access to all that stuff. So they get the sniffles. They just take a pill. They don't worry about the thing, And they're just living this life, and they're surrounded, depending on whether they're men, women, gay, whatever, straight, whatever they are. They're surrounded by whatever sexual, group they want, right? Basically living the life of like debauchery, orgies, and bacchanalia, okay? Right? Got laughing most of the day, they're laughing, right? Except when they wake up with a hangover, but they probably have some kind of thing that they just take a sip of and the hangover's gone within seconds. It's like the same, it's like why all these people always live to be 100, because they have stuff that we don't know about. General public. It's the year 2021. There's all kinds of miracle things out there, but we're not going to get access to it. I was watching this thing about this German woman she had some cancer thing she created. And, all these people. I watched something, it was from India. I want to look this one up. It was on The Print. Was the name of it. This is the name of the media company, The Print. And was a woman talking about some village where some guy had created some sort of thing and had cured the entire village of the thing. And there was like 20,000 people lining up in the village to get it. And he was just putting some drops in their eyes or something like that. I don't know what it was, but it was interesting. And after all these people were, it was gone. They nabbed the guy and took the thing, because he was giving it out for free. And we see the same thing, happening here with some of these so-called things that, treatments for the thing that you can't talk about. They demonize it or make you can't talk about it. And it's funny, but these self-appointed greedy rulers, these leaders, these little, these dictator types, they can do whatever the heck they want to. But anyway, back to this idea. So you're a billionaire, right? And you got this charmed life, all right? You're just laughing it away in your yacht. You got like a girl in each arm, and you're just hanging out, and you're drinking champagne, and you're watching the sunset off the deck of your yacht, right? On your way to some, to Monaco or, Cancun or someplace. I don't know, wherever. And meanwhile, you're on the phone, talking to somebody at the World Economic Forum, or that Klaus guy saying, we got to screw over these 8 billion people on the planet. What can we do to torment and torture them next? Right? Is that what you would do with $1 billion? Or would you just enjoy, the lush life? See, that's the paradox. That's the part I don't get. All right? I don't get it. Even like dementia guy, and stuff. I mean, that guy, they got a lot of money. And you could argue where they got it, whether it was from nefarious deals and dirty deals and all that stuff. All these houses they have and all that stuff, right? Well, it's like, why are they messing with people? Why don't you just live your freaking life? Right? That's what I'm trying to say. For somebody who's on the normal level, the average former, U.S. citizen, right? Or Well, we're still Americans. The average American or, person, if they even just had $1 million, extra, on top of whatever, would they be looking out for ways to make another person's life miserable? Or would you just enjoy life? That's the part I don't get. So what is it? What is this phenomenon that seems to be going on? In the second, I'm reading from my Meanwhile on Planet Earth title card on the screen. In the second decade of the 21st century, humanity perished due to a small number of self-appointed greedy rulers. I mean, they're literally messing with Mother Nature now, okay? They're messing with people. They're messing with our health. They're messing with everything. They're trying to make people's lives miserable. They're trying to drive people mad and get us sick. And they're totally screwing with us. And it's like, why? I mean, the only conclusion to me, it's the Occam's razor thing, is that these people are downright evil. Evil. Okay? They're evil people. Because no rational person, with that kind of wealth or even these positions, even these bureaucrats, they have ridiculous positions. They make way more money than they should. You know what I mean? These government bureaucrats even, forget about the corporatocracy, big tech. I mean, most people working in big tech, Silicon Valley, are like paid 10 times more than they should be. All right. For what they know and for what they do. 10 times more. All right. But DC, it's 2 or 3 times more. And they sit there and they have free health care and they've got these offices. They go out to lunch every day. They could afford to go out to lunch every day. And if you look at the parking lots of these places, they all got these like souped up SUVs, right? And they go to these DC neighborhoods, which I like abuse every day. And on the weekends, where is it? They mow their golf course lawns and go to the golf course, those. And they're not satisfied. Instead, they sit around and find ways that they could torment the 330 million people, 329 million people in the country. Because there's probably about 1 million, I don't know how many, there's probably 1 million bureaucrats. At least, right? Maybe a couple million even. I don't know. I looked that up once. I could look it up again. Let's see. New window. All right. How many government employees are there? See, people look this stuff up. Federal government. How many U.S. government employees are there? 2.1 million civilian workers. Several federal agencies collect, compile, and publish statistics. Some don't. Okay. So a couple of millions. Okay. So you got a couple million bureaucrats. All right. Now, those aren't the ruling elite. The ruling elite, there's only a couple thousand of them that rule over 8 billion people on the planet. The Davos set. Because that's where all the rules are made. So you don't see, there's not like 10,000 people going to Davos, right? So there's a few thousand people that make the rules, and then there's a couple of million of these minion bureaucrats and lower level government employees and employees from different, and other countries, but in the U.S., this is the king of bureaucracy, and we have 330 million. So you got 300 and say, let's even lowball it. 325 million so-called normal people here in the U.S. So why are these bureaucrats these unelected bureaucrats, by the way, who have this free health care, free daycare, throw their kids into the nanny state too, by the way. They get maternity leave, and the moment the maternity leave is over, they throw this infant, can't even, can still crawl, can't even walk yet. And they throw it into the nanny state and let it be raised by the nanny state for the next 20 some odd years. Right? From preschool, daycare, kindergarten, grade school, junior high, high school into college. Right? Prep school for some. Right? And like I say, half their life, because the life expectancy now is only like 50 or 60. People don't understand that. The reason there's old people now is because they were born at a time and lived half their lives at a time before all this meddling with processed foods, higher, a strong, weakened magnetic field with more cosmic rays, all of this electromagnetic radiation, coming into their body. Cancer rates were way lower. Remember, the leading cause of death is heart disease. The second leading cause of death is cancer. All right? And so when these people were born, that wasn't the case. So all this stuff is come lately in this recent, So the real life expectancy today isn't 77, as you'll find on some like CDC site, 77, 78. The real life expectancy age is something like 60, maybe less for people who were born within the past, 20 some years, right? 20, 30 years. So if you were born in like the late 80s, or 90, 91 or something, man, you're lucky if you got 20 years left. You might have 30. But, not most of us, if the sun nova is the way, it's looking, none of us have more than 20 years left anyway, 20 some years. But no matter which way you look at it, you're pretty much doomed. There's only 25 years left, either way. And forget about being a vegan and eating organic and stuff like that. Because the FDA controls that stuff, and that's not, unless you're growing your own food like I do, literally, then it's organic. And you use seeds, you don't buy seeds. See, that's one of the things I've figured out. I save my own seeds now. So I grow my own food, all right? I eat it, consume my own food. And then I let it go to seed, and then I plant those seeds. And I let the bees, pollinate, and from year to year, that's what I do. And I've been doing that, and I've been very successful today. This is a really good year for me, garden-wise. And, this rain we've been getting lately is great, but, we haven't had rain in it was like a month of like really light, nothing happening. I was out there with the hose, and I was saving, I had rainwater saved because I do collect rainwater for the garden, because there's nothing like rainwater, like I say, as opposed to city water or something like that. But at least there's the thing about soil and using good soil is that soil is a filtration device. No, not device, but filtration material. So you will, some of the things will be filtered. Soil will filter your water as well. Plus, you also have the sun beating down, and the sun is the ultimate disinfectant, right? There's so many things that the sun does, which again, pointing back to our title card here, which I guess I can make a little bit bigger again, just in case you're looking at this on a smaller device. But yeah, not only do you get vitamin D from the sun, but it activates all kinds of stuff within your body, boosts your immune system. But yeah, it's a natural disinfectant. And, UVB rays, they just kill stuff on contact. Kill germs on contact. And the idea of that was like the joke of like lockdown and keeping people from going outside. And like, we see these videos, these collections people have put together where these cops are basically like throwing old women and stuff, like kicking them down on the ground to handcuff them and stuff because they were in a park by themselves, surrounded by no one, just walking or sitting on a park bench, right? Looking at birds or something, right? And they'll just grab them and arrest them like brutally. And here that person was basically just trying to breathe in some fresh air and get some sunshine and wasn't harming anyone. So this gets back to what I'm trying to talk about when I was saying about these billionaires, or even if you won the lottery and you were a normal person, not some, heroin addict, some idiot. I mean, you would do good. Like I said, I've said before, I'd be like a Secret Santa type guy if I won the lottery. I'd go around, I'd look at people, look really good. I'm a pretty good judge of person. I like to think I am, though I've been fooled a few times because I've been married twice. The first one wasn't really that way. The second wife was like a real deceptive, she had a game plan. She wanted to get a green card type of thing. But like I said, I got what I wanted out of that too in retrospect, So what the heck? I slept with an actress model, So she used me for a green card, right? And I got to fuck a 6 foot tall, actress model. So what? All right. It wasn't like she took me for money, It was an irreconcilable differences thing, She was some Wall Street guy she was cheating with, before she even met me, there was like a whole plot on her plan, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. So yeah, I've been fooled a few times, but I've also had some relationships that were pretty good. But yeah, I'm a pretty good judge of person. Other than that, we can all be messed with. If somebody's a slimy, sneaky, nefarious, evil person, yeah, they can mess with you. But generally speaking, I'd go out and I'd look for people who were in need and stuff, and I'd be passing out $100 bills around the holidays. Why not? And I'd look at some charities and stuff. You can't take it with you, I'd do the best I could to help people. I've got a few ideas, I'd look into some of these things, these cures for various diseases and things like that, and do my best to invest to make sure that stuff could be made available to people. But on the other hand, these billionaires, these dictators, these people who are trying to rule the planet and rule this country, they, on the other hand, seem to want to torment us. And what is that all about? They're wealthy. See, we have a ruling class in the U.S., right? They're all wealthy now. It's not like you don't have like one of these old movies, John Smith Goes to Washington or something weird like that. You know what I mean? Some movie out of the 20s or the 30s or whenever they used to make those things, right? Such and such goes to Washington. It's like, no, this isn't some farm boy in rags goes and becomes a congressman and, whatever. These people all become millionaires. First of all, how is that? Right? Yeah, no one ever questions that. People do question it, but it doesn't get past the question. Right? You're aware of it because they're all millionaires. Well, but they don't make $1 million a year. But anyway, so you have this ruling class. And then when they get out, then they become mega millionaires, right? And they have all this property and all this wealth and stuff, you know. And Obama's a billionaire now, maybe, I think, or something. I mean, it's insane, right? So they're playing games, man. They're fixing Wall Street. They're doing inside trading. They're getting deals, you know, kickbacks from other governments. You know, who knows what they're doing. But whatever they're doing is they come to Washington as some common person, you know, unless they're like these legacy people. You've got a lot of that. But the non-legacy people come in and then they leave and they're a millionaire. Or more. But while they're in there, what do? They torment us. They mess with us. And they don't let us have, you know, they're just trying to kill us off. So that's the thing. So get it through your thick skulls. I control the climate. That's what the sun is trying to tell people right now. And it just doesn't make sense why these people are lying. They are lying. There is, you know, the facts are out there. The scientific facts are out there. The science says otherwise than the IPCC or NASA. And they know that. So why are they lying? You know, why are they lying? Big question. Why have there been so many contradictions and flip-flopping over the past, well, it's way over a year and a half now, over this thing, you know, that you can't speak about or criticize or talk about? Why has there been so many flip-flops and all that? You know? And just outright lies and deceptions. And the hypocrisy of the people, you know, these greedy, self-appointed rulers or whatever. Why have they, like, been seen not abiding by their own dictates and edicts? Right? You know, they try to push a thing on people, but then they don't, to them, they don't follow. They go, well, we're not going to, you know, we're not going to do that. You know, that's for the common man, right? The unwashed masses, let them have to do this stuff. We're not going to. So that's the paradox of it all. And, you know, really, when you look at it, there's really only one answer, that these people basically are they're just evil. They're just evil people. Because any other sane person, you know, who was given some kind of, you know, position and wealth would basically be happy and share, or at the very least, you know, just live their own life. If, you know, okay, so say they could be selfish. Okay, so say they're selfish. They're right, you know, hey, you know, you know, people are free to do whatever they want to. But the point of the matter is, I still go back to the point. If suddenly, you know, I gave you a suitcase with $1 million in it, well, you could choose to, like, just keep that hidden in your bedroom and not even share it with your family and friends. But you know that you're gonna go and, like, pull a stack of 20s out, and whatever your fun thing is, you're gonna go and have some fun with it. You might go on a vacation, or you might buy that thing you wanted to buy, right? Or are you going to have that suitcase in your bedroom, and now that you have, you know, things and some freedoms that and are able to do things that you couldn't do before, are you going to start like kicking your wife and tormenting your kids and abusing your neighbors or something? I mean, you see what I'm saying? You know, these people have everything, you know, beyond everything, and the ability to have everything and do anything they want to. It's almost magical in a sense. You know, you look at these guys, like, what's his face who recently quit Amazon, Bezos and stuff, you know. Now, these people could do whatever they want to in life, right? And they choose to, like, you know, I don't know if he divested from the Washington Post or not. I know that he owned the Washington Post for a while. But while he was, say, still there. So, you know, they'll put their influence to basically peddle lies that will ultimately lead to, you know, causing people hardship and whatnot. You know, or worse. And you go right down the list, you know, of all these wealthy individuals that instead of just, it's like, I don't begrudge anyone, right? From, you know, driving or, you know, sailing around or, you know, motoring around or whatever you want to call it, you know, in their yachts, you know, or flying their private jet to some, you know, secret island they own. And being surrounded by the lap of luxury. I don't begrudge people that. You know, when I was younger, I used to spend most of my time at resorts and beaches and living the good life. I liked that, you know. I soaked that in, right? I liked to be surrounded by beautiful women, you know, when I was younger and had fun. But while I was doing that, I wasn't tormenting anyone. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't like, in fact, I didn't even know I wasn't paying much attention to anything on the outside world. I've told these stories before. I remember living in Malibu, not when someone said, "Hey, what are you doing for Thanksgiving?" And I was thinking, is it November already? That's a true story. I tell that story all the time because it, you know, when I think about it, it's like, that's how much fun I was having, you know? I'm like, yeah, wow, is it November already? It's like, I don't know what I'm doing for Thanksgiving. So the point is, you could just do your own thing and have fun, or you could be, you know, you could share the wealth, you know, in a sense of being nice and kind and generous, you know. If I went to, when I had a lot of money, if I was in a bar and I was hanging out with somebody who just had a friend of mine who just had a regular job or something like that, I go, no, man, I got this round. I'm buying, you know. Take some people out to dinner and be like, no, it's on me. I got the check. Don't worry about it. You know, you could either do that, which most people would do. That's like how people are. If you've got it and they don't, it's like, you go, no, don't worry about it. Like I told you, Christmas time and stuff like that, I used to always give, you know, I was always a big giver of gifts and stuff when I had the extra money. But you don't have to be. So if you know, if you're you know, if you want to just keep things to yourself, that's one thing. But it's not like you're going to go out and try to intentionally mess with people when you have bounty and plenty. And that's the part that is the sickness that I see within this so-called self-appointed, greedy ruling class people. I see them messing with us at, you know, every chance they get, in every way, shape, or form. I see the hypocrisy. I see the lies. For no reason. Why would you lie? Why propagate this 0.004% CO2 man-made thing? What is their goal behind this? They got some kind of goal. You know, is it just a diversionary tactic so that they could like pass the $3.1 trillion bill so they could give their buddies each a couple of $100 billion? And then do all these weird things that are just going to mess up stuff? Or this infrastructure bill where they could pretend they're going to fix the infrastructure when in reality there's no way they can do it because we live in a carbon-based civilization? You know, I haven't really mentioned this one in a long time. I'm not even sure if I ever mentioned it. It's not only do we live in a carbon-based civilization, meaning this civilization is reliant on carbon, okay? Carbon-based fuels. Without it, it's over. There is no replacement. There is nothing. I mean, it would take decades and decades and decades and decades, I mean, to even wean, to get us off of this thing, to replace it. Because of the amount, because there's nothing that gives the type of energy as carbon-based. But we're carbon-based life forms. We're carbon-based life forms. So it's not even that we're just a carbon-based civilization, but we're carbon-based life forms. Something people don't even talk about. But yeah, you can't run heavy equipment on batteries. You can't repair the infrastructure. I know I say this every day, but it bears repeating. It just can't be done. You can't run a fire truck and put out a fire on the 16th floor in some kind of battery-operated machine. It's not going to happen next year, and it's not going to happen 10 years from now. Right? These people are delusionary, man. It's delusional. If they believe it. I don't think they believe it. I think they're just malicious, nefarious, evil people that are just trying to mess with people's minds, divert us from something that I'm not sure of, or maybe, like I say, maybe these Gnostics who talk about this loosh, that these people get energy from our pain, frustration, stress, horror, depression, pain. That's, in other words, they draw energy from that. I mean, I know that's sick and it's sci-fi and it's weird and all that stuff. But I mean, you got to look at this stuff and go like, well, give me another, explain to me another reason why someone who would have $1 billion would be like lying to you and messing with someone when they could just live the life of luxury and whatever. And like I say, they don't have to share. I don't want their money. I don't want anybody's money. I'm not saying they should share the wealth. Keep your wealth. Be selfish with it. Put it all in cash and keep it in your frickin' yacht or on your island. And, sleep in a pile of $100 bills every night. But why are you lying to people? Why are you tormenting people? Why are you torturing people? Why are you hiding cures from people? Why are you lying about everything? And why are you caught constantly on camera being a hypocrite too? Right? So that, the stuff I'm saying now is like, documented 100,000 times on YouTube, right? Because everyone's got a frickin', camera now, So it's like, you're caught, you're busted. They're busted every day, 17,000 times. I mean, there's so much hypocrisy exposed over the past decade or so that it's insane. Anyway, that's the thing. That's why I say fools, man. People are fools to get caught up in this stuff. And when I talk about the corporatocracy, sorry, my nose is itchy. that it's like there's nothing that can be done. People are just holding out and thinking, oh, there's going to be something, Every day it gets worse. Every day it gets worse. Yeah, there's probably somebody there. Oh, well, look at Cuomo. At least we got us one down. One down. Watch what happens with him, right? They publicly, every now and then, it's a diversion. They publicly take a guy, right? They make a scene about it. And like I say, 6 months from now, he's going to vanish into a mansion in upstate New York and live out his life in the lap of luxury. I mean, this is like repeated time and time again, right? High profile. They've got to put fall guys out every now and then just to keep misdirection, right? They don't want people focusing on, in other words, think about it, like Rand Paul came out with that thing. So they need something else to take the place of the news and to like kind of diffuse the masses from maybe like getting caught up in that thing and thinking, hey, defiance, right? No, let's like give them a victory, right? And so put their attention on that to make it seem as if whatever, or divert away from what these bills in Congress are really going to do and, and all this stuff. It's all bait and switch. I mean, nothing's new here. I mean, come on. Like I say, if you live long enough, you've seen it all before. You've seen it all before. Right? But this climate thing, man, that's a real sick game they're playing, because some of the stuff that they're planning to do is actually going to cause a lot of damage. Right? Because their geoengineering is part of that, and then this Elon Musk fuck. I mean, people still think this guy's like something else, is like his gigafactories and stuff like that. It's like, no, man, him putting up those things in super low Earth orbit and stuff, man, that's just microwaving people more. The last thing we need is more is like more exposure to radiation. 5G. We need to get rid of the smartphone. See, that's the thing that really cracks me up. See, under normal circumstances, by now, the smartphone would have been replaced. If Steve Jobs were still alive, if they didn't kill him off, and I'm sure there's some people thinking like that's a conspiracy. No, they killed him. He originally, he didn't want to have the iPhone be a cell phone. He wanted it to be Wi-Fi communications. He wanted to like break the AT&T and Verizon and stuff. His idea was ubiquitous Wi-Fi, and using your phone, having this phone that you could replace it with, Yeah. People don't know that. But if a guy like Jobs was still around, and forget about it, he took some temper tantrums and some stuff like that. Who doesn't? When I was younger, I sometimes used to, yell a little bit. I didn't harm anybody. He didn't harm anybody. All right. But, he wanted to get his way. But the thing is, the iPhone, the one, if Steve Jobs was still around, and I mean this, I'm serious. I bet that in this, like September, they have their thing where they're going to announce their Christmas line of phones, the Mac products that'll come out just in time for people to order for the holidays, right? Well, if he was still around, there'd be like, and one more thing, and he'd have a thing that would totally replace the smartphone. See, the smartphone's been around for too long, right? Just like I say with Facebook and Twitter. It's like they've been around too long now. It's like, it's the same with like pop music and stuff, I keep trying to say. everything's like, we've been in like some time loop for the past 15, 20 years. Like nothing's changing. Whereas in other decades, and I'm not going to like expound on this because I do this often, but I will touch on it as we end the show, is that in other decades, 3 to 4 things happened within that, major things happened within those decades. And as far as pop culture was concerned, it was never politics. Pop culture was the miniskirt, right? Pop culture was fashion, was like pop art, Andy Warhol, it was a whole different, things changed, music changed 3 times in a decade, right? You go from folk to British invasion, to hard rock to Woodstock or something, from Ozzy Osbourne to classic R&B, music, then into disco and then hair metal and all, things just constantly change. That was human nature. That's what American culture used to be like, right? And same with fashion, things changed, there was always something new, fashion, new way to dress, a new hairdo, right? A new style of something, this, that, the other. You notice everything's sameness now, right? It's the same beat, ding, 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 even country music. I had my voice assistant, just for the hell of it, the other day while I was eating lunch. I have one in my bar counter in my kitchen. I'm sitting there eating some tomatoes, sandwich mainly made from things from my garden. So I'm like playing, play country, because they have something they were promoting, like, they've got DJ'd country thing on this Amazon thing now. And I said, okay, so let's see what that's like, right? They don't seem to have it for rock or oldies or anything else like that. I said, okay, I'll listen to it. I'm listening to these songs and they were just they just all sounded exactly the same. And that's not me, because I'm a musician and I like all kinds of music, and I have no, and I'm, I liked classic country and I even like some newer country. But this stuff was just like, we're in this sameness now. You can't tell if it's rock, rap, or country half the time. But it's the same with politics, is now pop culture, not fashion or art, or anything like that. Art has become furniture, right? Paintings match the decor of somebody's, $1 million condo. Yeah, it's really weird. People just don't, and people just are oblivious to everything. And like I say, they're all just basically silently just like watching Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, or regular TV or something, or their smartphones, or playing games or whatever else, messing with apps and stuff. I ordered something from this. I'm not even afraid to say it, this Instacart. This is about the 4th time this happened. 3 of the items I order, I didn't get. I'm tired of that, man. I'm tired of that. If you got a service and you're offering delivery service, don't fucking list. Get a better way of inventorying stuff. This is the year 2021. See, we've got morons. If you can't update your inventory or availabilities of products, don't have them listed. That stuff should be instantly updated, man. Or at least within a reasonable amount of time, 15 minutes or a half hour. I mean, things weren't, if you're not going to deliver it for 2 hours or something. That's what I'm saying. People don't understand. This society's falling apart at the seams, and these billionaires, these people in charge, they're the ones that are like pulling the string. It's like you got a piece of cloth or an old sweater or something, and there's this dangling thread, and it's like, in a cartoon or something, somebody just keeps pulling the thread until, the whole side of the sweater, has a hole in it or falls off. That's what these self-appointed greedy rulers are doing to our society. They're like pulling it apart at the seams, right? And then they're beating their chest, and they're coming off like, look at me, I'm Elon Musk, I'm doing all these great things, and we're gonna send somebody to Mars. You can't breathe on fucking Mars, man. All right? Nobody wants to go to Mars. Right? We'll send exploration. We got a couple things there now. Nobody's paying attention to it. You know, I always say, you know, they've got that helicopter and those rovers. You know how they have like NASA live TV, and they put on the space station every now and then, and they could show you Earth and stuff like that. How come they, you know, wouldn't it be nice if we had like, because I know there's a delay coming from Mars because of the distance. But it's like, why don't we have Mars TV? And why don't they put more explorers up there and a couple more satellites around it? You want to see Mars? Have Mars live. But that's why I always hated TV, because I thought by this point in time, you know, and I don't want to take up, I'm getting towards the end of this show, so I just want to get through this. This is an interesting point that, you know, just to show you how fucked up technology is and how 2021 is primitive. All right? So first of all, these delivery services, bullshit, man. They're not keeping up to it. You know, these Ubers and Lyfts and stuff, like where the hell are they? You can't even get one anymore, right? Oh, it's because of the thing. Screw you. All right? Right? There's all this unemployment. Nobody's going to build back better, build, you know, infrastructure, because they don't know how to work front-end loaders, man. They don't know how to work the equipment. And technology, AI, and algorithms, they're making mistakes right and left. Software programs, useless. The Macintosh computer, my Mac is a piece of crap. I go to shut it down, and then luckily I'll come back downstairs, because I go upstairs. I live upstairs in the afternoons. Downstairs, I'm just down here in the mornings. And I'll come down to check the mail on my porch, and my computer will have restarted, or it said, your computer restarted because of something. It's like, come on, man, it's 2021. It's a $2,000 worth of computer there. My iPhone right now, it won't work unless I restart it every day. Like I could turn it back, it's off. I turn it off at night because I don't use it. I don't want that thing on. I'm not waiting for anything. I have I have a house phone. I get a phone call, right? But I'll turn it on. So you think, okay, it's restarting, rebooting, it boots up. And then a call or something or whatever, a text or something or an app, it won't work. I have to then shut it off, restart it in order for it to boot. Otherwise, it shows yesterday's stuff on it. This is the year 2021. Like I say, technology, these guys are full of crap, man. People think there's going to be these self-driving cars and stuff. Are you kidding me? All right? Look at the planet. Look at the alleyways and stuff. Maybe where you live in some kind of cookie-cutting neighborhood or something that's perfectly planned or something and easy to navigate. But most of America, most of the frickin' world is skinny side streets with alleys and weird entrances to garages and all kinds of goofy stuff. Cars backing up when you least expect it. Right? Ain't gonna happen. It's the same as why flying cars never happened. We're being so lied and deceived. Our technology, the smartphone is primitive. People, well, the camera, the picture, now you could take night vision kind of picture, or if it's really dark, you get a really cool photo and you could put bunny ears on somebody. The fuck do I want to put bunny ears on somebody for? Right? And what's this idea? Everybody's got to take pictures all of a sudden. Everybody's got thousands and thousands of pictures sitting in the cloud. The only purpose of that is now, and apparently Apple's joined forces with it, so the CIA and the NSA can sift through this stuff and further build more profiles tied in with all the stuff you gave, information you gave over the years to Facebook and all your browsing history. Oh, and by the way, those VPNs that all these jokers, these YouTube millionaires advertise about, get this VPN and it'll like mask your thing. They don't work. They still know where the fuck you are, you dumb fuck. They know your computer. They know when you go to the grocery store. All right? They don't just use GPS to track you. They track you everywhere. I get this shit from Google. I don't even use fucking Google. And Google once a month sends me a thing and shows me every address I went to and what time I was there and gives me a link to the map to show how to get there. How are they doing that stuff? You have no idea, man. The whole thing is fucking, it's like everything you know is wrong. That's why I keep that on the screen. And I'm wearing the hat Game Over, and that model's wearing the hat Game Over on the screen. Go to TonyCaravanLive.com, rockflux.com, and also get the shirt that says, you don't know what you don't know. Anyway, I'm getting too worked up now. So I don't want to go any longer because, man, it just get crazy from this point. So good morning. Thanks for watching. Visit TonyCaravanLive.com or rockflux.com. It's the same page. It's not even a website. I haven't built it out yet, but it's got links to all my gear, the shirts and stuff. Get something. Get a mug, get a shirt, get a hoodie, get something, one of those solar power things. So look, winter's just around the corner. Power failures happen. It's just the way it is. Get something. All right? What's your problem, man? Buy something. Support the channel. I'm giving you more information on these morning shows than these YouTube millionaires, and I'm demonetized. All right? Help a brother out, man. Come on.
Funky.
Get with it. All right?
Okay.